Peace family, Vie Darling, the Cosmic Queen and your intergalactic interpreter, and I am here with a little reading. I'm gonna just do an energetic check-in because I feel like we need one, and at least I need one. Actually, give me a second. I'm going to keep this one brief. Try to just keep it under 15 minutes because I have stuff to do. This Highline Creator. Reveal to me what it is you would have me. Reveal, show me what it is you would have me. Trace with me what it is you would have me say. Direct me as to how you would. What are the messages that you want to communicate to the collective right now? What are the messages? So what I want to talk about is today's energy, I guess. And honestly, I want to get a taste of what the weekend is going to bring energetically. And I'm not talking about like on a mundane level of like, oh, like what are my friends gonna do? This is more of a sense of like an cosmic energy, like what we should be expecting energetically. I do get the sense that there's something is going to be revealed in the news. I feel like something is going to be revealed in the news, and I do feel like it's going to be kind of like an I told you so moment. I don't think it's necessarily going to be anything that like we didn't expect. I think that it's something that like it is an expose of corruption for sure. And I do feel like a lot of the people who've been masquerading as good, but who have been complicit and contributors and contributing to the corruption that's been going on, I'm definitely getting for the Democratic Party. And here's the thing, I grew up as a Democrat. Like when I was in first grade is when George Bush was elected, and I brought home this like Time magazine for kids thing, and I told my dad that I liked George Bush because he looked really nice, and my dad was like, we don't like George Bush, we're Democrats. Which is like the most like, yeah, anyway, there's stuff about identity coming up and integrating fragments of identity that had perhaps been disparate before, because there was a blockage, there was a veil, an obfuscation keeping us from being able to perceive ourselves fully. And so I'm seeing it as like the fractal. So there's the fragmentation, right? This is us together, and then there's like the fragmentation, and then like that energy, once it like fragments, it goes out and it does like, it creates a fractal, and then it comes, I guess it like bumps into something, it goes as far as it can go, and then it like comes back. That's what like a boomerang, that's what I'm perceiving. But I'm also perceiving for this like ideological fractal that it can go so far, and then we start to feel like the shift in its energy is like harmful in some way, and that's when we're like, okay, I've got to do something about this. And that's what I'm picking up, is that like your fractal that was like fragmented. I'm also picking up that this might be for like GATE program people, like GATE kids, STAR kids, Anybody who was in one of those like weird programs where they're like preparing you for Mensa and stuff like that, if you think that you've been experimented upon by the triple letters, I'm talking to you. And what I'm picking up is, yeah, there was purposeful fragmentation, and these fractals went out in different directions, and there was a decadence that happened, a decaying that happened. And it's decadence because it's indulgent. When we indulge in behavior that we know is divisive, that we know is harmful, like, that brings deterioration, corrosion of our spirit, and we have to call that energy back to us and heal that fragmentation. Yeah, I feel like it's like, call the energy back, heal that fragmentation so that it cannot continue like going out anymore, and do the work to heal that fractal as it went out, like, and to like, you can keep all of the lessons that you learned, but you need to let go of all of the spiritual detritus that is weighing you down. That is material baggage, and it is what keeps us from rising in the frequency and dimension. So you get the Ace of Swords. If you've been particularly tired, wait, I was talking about corruption. I was raised as a Democrat. I grew up in Montgomery County, Maryland, which is extremely neoliberal. And if you are somebody who doesn't know who has no nuance around politics, and you just think, oh, it's just liberal versus conservative, Democrat versus Republican, then you're just not going to really understand a lot of the things that I'm trying to, like, that I'm explaining. But I grew up in a place that, like, Maryland is extremely conservative, which neoliberals are very conservative. Maryland is very racist, but it is a covert. It is primarily covert, but it's more than microaggressions. It's like people will say things that are really racist, like when you're not around, or like behind your back. Like, someone I grew up with in church, like, I guess like these people thought that she was white because her mom is pale, but she's Hawaiian. She is like an indigenous person of color, although technically Hawaiians are not indigenous to that land mass. But the point is, she was in their car getting a ride somewhere, and they got to the gate, and the people who were working at the gate were Latin, and they were like, between themselves, a husband and wife who were white, were like saying all of this racist stuff about them. And I guess they thought that it was okay because they thought that my childhood friend was white, her dad is white, and her mom is pale, but like her mom does not look like a white woman. She has like literally black hair because she's like mixed Hawaiian. But all that to say, like, yeah, because of their ignorance, they thought that they were in safe company to be racist, and they were. And yeah, so all of the microaggressions like that I grew up experiencing make complete sense, like knowing that story. But because I grew up right outside of Washington, D.C., I grew up identifying with liberalism and with being a Democrat. I am not anymore. I do not identify with any of that stuff anymore. I am a sovereign being. I am an abolitionist, and that is, I believe in abolition, and I believe in decolonization and re-indigenizing. So that's what I believe in, but I'm a sovereign being, point blank, period. And So when I say this, please don't take this as like, oh, I'm MAGA or whatever. Like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, I'm just explaining to you, like, that both sides are corrupt. And I'm really seeing, like, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And what I'm seeing about them is, like, there are more revelations coming out. And you might not see this, like, on the broader public, like you might not see this in your news feed, but if you look at like news websites, like news articles, you will see that there is rising tension around the revelation of corruption, that the people thought that these people were good, but they were actually not good. So there's a revelation, there's new information coming in. I'm seeing AOC, and I'm gonna warn folks to be careful right now, because like my technology has been glitching out, and I don't think that it's because of like me downloading like codes, which that was the other message that I was gonna share, is like, if you've been really tired lately, if you've been like really like sensitive and irritable and just like wiped out, it is because your body is going through a biomolecular change, and you are downloading these, like, if you're like channeling like diamond plasma, like I channel diamond plasma, like you're gonna have these experiences of your physical body changing, and you're going to need to get more rest in order to process those changes and metabolize those changes. My laptop also just glitched out, but like be careful, because like they're very, very clear about like monitoring, okay? They're very, very clear about that. Do not take any of this stuff lightly. Like, stop playing games with your life. Stop, like, if you just need to know that. And what else is coming through? So I'm seeing something about like AOC, and yeah, people are gonna be like really disappointed, and like she's gonna say that like it's not true, it is true. I'm seeing like stuff with like corruption with Kamala and Joe, and like information, I guess, like because they had their regime together, I'm seeing like information about them coming out that's going to reveal that they were like, they entrenched policies that were like setting us up for the situation we're in now, is what I'm picking up. What else is coming through? Tribunal is what I'm hearing. And I think that like it's important to note that if this is a distraction, it's yes and no. I think it's time to start thinking about things like both things can be true and are. Like, if it's a distraction, it's being used. Something can be, the spectacle is used as a distraction, but what is happening is really happening. That is what needs to be understood, and that's what's being communicated. Judgment in the reverse. I don't believe that these people are going to receive, they've been trying to escape judgment. They're not going to receive the credit that they're due, as in like, it should be worse for them, but it's not. Children going missing is something that I'm hearing, and that probably has to do with like, you know, children literally have gone missing, like in those regimes, like when kids were in cages at the borders, like because of ICE, like kids have gone missing. And that's like what I'm picking up is like related to that. And it's going to be revealed that a lot more went missing than actually was accounted for. The numbers for what was going on are far worse, and that is going to be revealed, is what I'm picking up on. The Lovers. I don't want y'all to worry about this really. Queen of Cups. The cups in this deck are interesting because this is my fairy oracle deck, or fairy oracle tarot deck. I don't remember what, crystal oracle, but Four of Cups. So this is a very fae oriented deck. Five of Cups in reverse. And so there's magic here. And when we are dealing with the marine, It can be evil or it can be good. And what I'm picking up here is that by mastering our shadow, we are coming into union. There is, like I said, there is stuff that's coming up. 5 of Cups in reverse. There is stuff that's coming up to be purged, to be healed, to be released. But 5 of Cups in reverse is telling me that that stuff is not continuing. It's not gonna, more of that is not gonna happen because you've done the work to put an end to that. Okay, and what I'm also picking up is that, you know, all of this stuff is a byproduct of a wealth of BS that happened in the ethers. And we talk about this here in the Aetherium all the time. The spirit realm. The spirit realm is first, the ethereal realm, then I would say air, then I would say water, and then fire. But it could also be, anyways, it's clarifying to me. But it's in terms of density, I would say that fire is less dense than water. And then the material realm, earth. So that's how what happens manifests. And that is why it's important to be a master of your own mind. Master of your domain means master of your mind and your life. Like, this is why it's important to reclaim yourself from indoctrination. This is what part of why I'm a media studies major in my grad program. Like, I'm doing a media grad program. Anyways, I study media studies because I am interested in this form of indoctrination, this way that people are indoctrinated through the media into the vampiric colony. And well, I'm gonna wrap this up. It is really important, especially right now, to be the master of your own domain, the master of your own mind, because if you are operating from indoctrination, you are creating more negative karma for yourself, and this prolongs the power of these structures, these people, the whatever you want to call them, these power structures end up being, their power gets further entrenched because we are enacting it. But right now, with everything that's coming up, with everything that's being revealed, we have to own our own mind and we have to be sovereign over our own heart. You cannot abandon X consciousness. And I'm going to say X because I know that that word 𝗪𝗪 is one of those flagged words on social media where they don't let people like talk about that really. Like, not if they're speaking the truth, if they're speaking some psyop BS, false light BS, they get their platform. But if they're speaking the truth, they don't get their platform. So I'm just going to, I'm just going to speak about this in terms of X in that case, because as I've said before, this is the crossroads. It is an intersection between unconditional love and unconditional truth, and we are at the center. We are the gatekeepers. We are the threshold for whether or not Shaitan gets out into the collective world or not. We have to be the ones who say, no, I'm not going to espouse lies. I'm not going to espouse hate. I'm not going to espouse propaganda. Even if I feel that, it's my job to transmute it so that I can speak truth. You know what I mean? And so, that all being said, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out right now that's going to probably upset people who are really about justice. And it's our job to call judgment, the magician. It's our job to call judgment, but oh my god, the magician, the Hierophant, 3 of Cups, but 3 of Swords in reverse, 7 of Swords, like this, it's no longer happening. And this is why, because if we are doing our best to mitigate that in between of, oh, I feel this way, I think this way, and I express that, like, okay, I feel hurt, I feel scared. Now I am thinking in a way that's like survival mode. I am in my lower mind, I'm in my base mind, and I'm going to act out. Now I'm going to cause harm, and I'm going to be harmed. But I'm going to cause harm to myself and others. Like, that is playing into Shaitan's hands, and you become a pawn for Shaitan. Like the whites in Game of Thrones, the White Walkers are not all of the zombie army. Those are called whites, 𝗪𝗪𝘁𝗻. The White Walkers are the ones who are controlling them. That's who I'm referring to as like the vampire colony, the colonizers. Those are them. And these colonizers, first of all, they were created by the children of the forest. That is one thing that I do want to say. But the other thing that I needed to say, so your enemy is not the other people, like other people. These people have names and they have addresses, but it's the Habsburgs. It's the Holy Roman Empire. Like, and before that, the Roman Empire, and before that, like Atlantis. You know what I mean? So it is their ideology that lives on, and they're hoping that when they are defeated in the spirit realm, because they have been defeated in the spirit realm, like, we won that war, the contracts are over, we won that war, they no longer have power there anymore. And as we are moving, as the earth is shifting out of the frequency of their creations, like, they're trying to get people to entrench these powers through their behavior by perpetuating the indoctrination, so that it takes longer, so that we get stuck in the dimensional realms that this stuff can take place. But we have to, like, it's through indoctrination. That's all I can say. Like, if you can control your mind, these ideologies are false. We know that they're false. If you can control your mind to triumph over this, then it will die off, because they're done. They've lost the war in the ethers. And so, like, yeah, the more that we divest from it and don't allow it to hold space within us and no longer recreate it and entrench it through our actions and our words, the more that it dies off. I see it as like a plant weeding your garden, and then the garden starts to bloom, and then there are no more weeds, right? Choking the other plants. So that's what's happening. Three of Cups in the reverse. And with the Lovers, they're desperate because we are coming into union, and we need to focus on coming into union, focus on unconditional love, focus on unconditional truth. We need to focus on coming into union. It takes a brave heart, a brave soul to be unconditionally loving. It is so, like, and those of us who have to do this work have every reason not to be, but we must be, for our sake and for others, but for us, because we're the ones who suffer most when we aren't. So be the, like, master your feelings. What is going to be revealed? Like, if they're like, oh, like during Obama's presidency or during Biden's presidency, they reported that this many kids went missing due to ICE, but actually it was this many. That might sound like, oh, like, that sucks, that's really fucked up. But like, if you think about the true reality of it, that is far more than really fucked up. Like, what happened to those kids that went missing? What's happening at Alcatraz? Things like that. Like, when you actually think about it, it is upsetting AF. It is it is really, really upsetting. But we cannot allow what is being revealed over the weekend to poison us, to poison our hearts, to poison our spirit, to make us feel that all is lost, because all is not lost. We have won. They have lost. Anything that's coming up, like, I keep feeling like I'm being attacked. It's not me being attacked. It's things that were done to me, that were seated deep in my consciousness, deep in my psyche, or really in my subconscious, in my consciousness, and metastasized in my body, surfacing to purge. So doing, like, yeah, I mean, I guess like spell reversal could help, But I think that what will help the most is to do cleansing, baths, purification rituals. And I'm gonna like sweat this stuff out, detox from this energy. That is going to be the most helpful thing that you can do. And as that happens, personal stuff is going to arise for you as well. But you know, just be willing to let that stuff surface and be experienced, witness, and let it go, because it's not happening anymore and it's not going to ever happen again. You know what I mean? Like the things that I experienced in the cults that I was raised in, I will never experience that with them again. I will not. That's never gonna happen. Like, it's just not. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what those people are up to, and I don't want to know. Probably doing the same depraved things that they've always done. And God bless. I hope that that's not true. I hope that they have healed and are healing and are getting better. But the point is, that's none of my business. That will never happen to me again, because I will not interact with them again. So, you know, understand that, like, this stuff, just let it go as it's surfacing. You are not wrong to feel how you feel, but if you allow it to rule you, then you allow it to rule you. And yeah, it is going to continue ruling your life, but we're in a season now where I would say this dark night of the soul is coming to an end. I do believe that we're moving out of the 𝗂𝗪. I believe that we've been in the 𝗂𝗪 actually for the past 2,000 years, since the infiltration of Kemet and by the Jezebel, and this infiltration that led to, you know, the Hellenic corruption and everything that the Roman Empire did, and then the Holy Roman Empire. Like, all of that stuff goes back to that Jezebel Khamitian corruption that happened. And there is truth in there being a woman who ate an apple. And I would say to you, because I have to get off now because I gotta go eat something before I go to work, but I'm gonna upload this to YouTube. I would say to you to look up Akasha in the Anne Rice vampire world. She's in Queen of the Damned. There's been a lot coming up about vampires lately, and I would suggest to you to not watch things about vampires, but I would suggest to you to do the research, because when we watch media about vampires, it opens portals for that energy to get in, that Jezebel energy, those frequencies, like, allow that stuff to get in. And if you are a descendant of any of these lineages, particularly like what is identified as like Anunnaki lineages, they didn't want me to say that. I think that that word is like one of the words that they're like checking for. Like, you know, in Harry Potter, when if you say Voldemort, like, at first people didn't want to say it because they were scared, but then they had a tag, like they created a spell to tag anybody, any use of that word, like set off an alarm, and the Death Eaters would come for them, because they knew that the only people really using the name were the Order of the Phoenix. So that I feel like certain words are being flagged right now, and if you don't want to be on a list, let me just tell you right now, you don't want to go up against like these agencies. You don't. If you know what happened to the Gate Kids and the Star Kids, like if you know what happened to, I mean, we, as I've said before, time again, like Fred Hampton, Martin Luther King Jr., my own grandfather, like, we don't want to. So do your best to, like, right now, especially when we don't have the energy and power to fight, like, do your best to keep a low profile and only communicate with the people who actually, you know, are on your team, on your side. Don't waste time anymore on those people who are infected by the Jezebel. Like, don't waste time anymore, because, you know, we've given them ample opportunity our whole lives to turn it around, and they haven't accepted it because they don't want to. We have to just accept that they want to live a depraved life. And that's fine for them. That's their choice, and we just have to accept that. Free will. You want to do that? You know, whatever. I don't like it, but it is what it is. So I love you all truly and deeply. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that, like, I'm really grateful that I wanted to stop the reading at 11, but I knew that that was unlikely. But yeah, I hope that I can, like, get ahead of, like, this and do more of these kinds of readings. Anyway, peace be unto you. Blessings and rather protections be upon you. Grounding and grace, and I will see y'all on the flippity flip.